Hey guys, and today we will talk about the life in the US. We will talk about different aspects of it. We will talk about America versus Europe. We will talk about different aspects with Gloria, with our host today. And please, Gloria, tell about yourself briefly, about your name, where do you study, where do you live currently, and just what you want to share with the audience.
Yeah. My name is Gloria. I'm 20 years old. I was born in the U.S. and I lived there for 16 years. And now for the past 4 years, I've been living in a city called Perugia in Italy, where I study psychology.
Okay, it's great. And maybe Gloria, as for your hobbies, interests, what do you like more?
I love traveling, reading, hanging out with friends. Typical 20-year-old things.
Yeah, it's amazing. And right now you're in Lisbon and you are doing an internship. Yeah.
Correct. I'm in Lisbon for the summer working on an internship for university, and then at the end of this month I'll go back to Italy.
Wow. So watch till the end. It will be really interesting. So the first question that we have is, what benefits and drawbacks can you tell us as for living in the US?
Well, obviously, everything that I say is subjective, depends on the state,
Sure.
Depends on how old you are, where you're living, what your personal situation is. But I would say, if we're going to generalize, I would say the work-life balance is worse in the U.S. than compared to Europe. So that would be a drawback. I think there's this hustle culture, and people are very obsessed with, just going in, making money, and getting out. And I think that's determining a lot of people's self-worth right now in the U.S. So that would be one of the drawbacks, I would say. There's just a life revolving around work. And then for the benefits, like any country, there's drawbacks and benefits. I think that the American mindset mentality of, if you want it, you can do it, is really great and really inspiring. I think people are very open-minded. Americans in general are open-minded. Whatever you want to accomplish, you can do it if you work hard.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I think a lot of us have heard about that. That's American dream, and as for if you can get it. Yeah, if you believe in it. So yeah, that's all the American style, American type. So yeah, okay. One more question that we have: how can you describe people in America?
Oh, well, I would say one thing I think that separates Americans from other cultures, similar to what I said before, is that they're very work-oriented.
Okay.
But Americans are super friendly, very chatty. They love to talk, and when they meet you on the street, they'll be super nice, super friendly. So typically people are very warm, I would say.
Yeah. Like people in Lisbon as well here, they're pretty similar. Yeah, if we will compare people in Europe and America, are there any difference? What do you think?
I would say Americans are more friendly.
More, okay.
Right, because even though people in Europe are friendly as well, then obviously depending where in Europe you have your different degrees of friendliness. Same thing in the U.S. But in the U.S., when you're waiting in line to get a coffee, the person behind you will start speaking with you and asking, "Oh, where are you from? What are you doing?" And they love to talk with strangers, I think. Or people will come up to you and compliment your outfit, ask where you got it from, and then walk away. Whereas I've experienced that less in Europe.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I believe that we don't have, in comparison maybe with Prague, yeah, we don't have such thing compliments, a lot of them. In comparison with America, yeah, I've heard about that as well. So people are really just lovely to each other. So yeah.
And then there are also the crazy people. But most people are very complimentary.
So we have a question as for what is the most important thing for Europeans and Americans? What do you think as for values?
I think in general, Europeans, or in this case Italians, prioritize time with their family more than in America. Because in Italy, there's also this culture of you come home for lunch, everyone sits together, you talk about your morning, and then oftentimes for dinner, the same thing. It's much more family-oriented, whereas in the U.S., yes, people are family-oriented as well, but I would say more so in Italy, especially because oftentimes all of the relatives in a family are in the same city or same town. So on Sundays, they'll get together for family gatherings, and in the U.S., I would argue that families are more spread out. So oftentimes it's even more difficult to plan family gatherings, and in Italy they just prioritize it more. Where in America you don't even come home for lunch. If a family has dinner together, it's at the end of the day, and so it's just a different culture. For example, when I was in high school in America, I had 20 minutes for lunch in school, then continuing my academic day. Whereas when I was in high school in Italy, I would come home for lunch and have like a big lunch with all of my cousins.
All right. So like family first, as for Italians, we can say, yeah. And as for Americans, they don't, like, it depends, yeah. They're like, not everyone puts family first. It really depends.
Well, yeah, let's just say that an American typically is not going to stop their work day to go home, cook a meal, sit for an hour with their family, and then go back to work. It's not convenient. Especially because if you're not living in a city, you're in the suburbs, you have to travel with the car to get back home. So it's also less convenient. I would say they wake up, go through their work day, have lunch at work. I've never met any American who goes home for lunch. And then once they're done with their day, then they go home, but they're not going back and forth.
Yeah. It makes actual sense, like, as for, like, just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to kind of reconvene with your family halfway through the day, I think, but in certain cases, it's not convenient, it's not functional if you have to go all the way back, prepare a meal, especially if both parents in the household work. It doesn't work well.
Oh, yeah. So, also, Gloria, as for Europe and US, yeah, so you have experienced to live in the USA and you have experienced to live in Italy. You're in Lisbon right now, but you're living in Italy. Like, where do you like to live more? Like, yeah.
At this point in my life, definitely Italy.
Okay, and why Italy?
Quality of life. Also, at 20 years old, even in terms of expenses, even in terms of university in America is so expensive, whereas in Italy there's no comparison. But also even just in terms of culture, food, people, even living in a university city versus an American university campus is very different. I would prefer to live in a university city that feels more like the real world than an American university campus, which is kind of a bubble. Also, even in terms of traveling, it's a lot easier to travel in Europe. Everything is well connected, the forms of transportation, and you still can travel in the US, but it's so spread out that you really need a car unless you're flying out of a major city. So I think for this period of my life, it's more fun.
Okay. Yeah, and actually, as for Europe, I believe that it's like more more countries like France, Germany you can visit. Yeah, but as for states, it really depends. For example, like from LA to New York, you need to take a plane. Yeah. So
they're creating like a super speed bullet train or something. The one with the tube with no friction inside of it. But I don't think it's been like released. It's not for the public, but yeah. So you need to take a plane.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you could just take a train for the weekend to a neighboring country, and it's so easy.
That's true. How can you describe educational systems in Europe and in America, and like which system do you like more?
High school or university?
Let's say university, I believe. But high school, it's also interesting. Maybe for both of them, yeah.
Okay. So in America, no, let's start like this. In Italy, all of the high schools are specialized. I don't know how it is in Prague, in Czech, for example, or in Ukraine.
Specialized, like have like as for arts, yeah, science.
Right. So for example,
sure. We have
in
the same.
Italy, I went to a math and science high school. There's also an arts high school, a linguistics high school, a sports high school. Whereas, and then in America, you don't have that. You have just a general high school, and that's it. And the only specialization that you have is public or private. But most people, the masses, go to public schools. So even the focuses within the high schools, I think, are completely different. Because obviously, if you're going to a math and science high school, you're focusing more on that stuff. Or, for example, when I was studying in Italy, there were certain subjects that I would hear from friends who maybe went to an art high school that I had never studied before. Because in America, it's more general. You study a little bit of everything. That's what I'm trying to say. And then also in Italy, you study basically the same subjects every year for 5 years. And each year you go a little bit more in depth for each material until you finish the curriculum. Whereas in America, it's kind of the opposite. You focus on one subject at a time. Wait, I need to figure out how to explain this. Basically, you study one subject every day for a year, and then you finish that curriculum. For example, I studied, in America, I studied chemistry my second year, every single day for 1 year, and I finished the entire curriculum. Then when I went to Italy and I studied chemistry again, even though I was in the third year, I already knew all of it because I had finished the curriculum in America, whereas they were in their third year of chemistry.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
In America, like you learned all the information that in Italy it's like learned more longer. You mean? Yeah.
In Italy, it's spread out over the course of 5 years, and you're maybe studying that subject 2 or 3 times a week. Whereas in America, you're studying it every single day, but only for 1 year.
Get it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then let's say you complete a general chemistry course in 1 year. The following year, you could do an advanced chemistry course.
Yeah.
But each one lasts 1 year. But then even in terms of like grading, how they grade is completely different. Because in Italian schools, a lot of the exams are oral, which in America doesn't really exist unless it's a language exam.
Doesn't exist? Like,
I mean, I'm sure it exists in some places, but I was never given an oral exam in America unless it was it was for a language.
oh, okay.
Meanwhile, in Italy, it's for anything and everything.
So like in Italy, as for like we can describe exams like oral exams, yeah, and in America it's like
It's written.
okay.
And then there are also written exams in Italy as well. But they have the oral aspect that America doesn't have at a high school level.
All right. And as for Gloria, as for Prague, I believe, as for schools, we don't have like specialized ones. We have like a general schools like in America, like I said. Yeah, but as for specialized, it's interesting. Maybe we have. I can. Yeah.
For universities, I think they're like in Italy and even in America, there are certain universities that are known for specific majors, they call it in America. But on a high school level, in Italy they're all specialized. In America they're not.
Okay.
So the reason why I chose to go to a math and science high school is because it was the curriculum that best matched up with my American curriculum, what I had already been studying.
Yeah. Yeah. A nice move. Yeah. So it's like it makes sense. All right. All right. And as for as for university, as for educational systems, so like what can we say?
I would say in America, in terms of university, they baby you more. In Europe, in Italy, you're more independent in the sense that on an American campus, you have all your university buildings that you need to go to right there. They give you housing, your dorms, dormitory. There's a cafeteria. It's just, there's a system in place for the students in case they need something. In some schools, I think in all schools, I don't know, don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but for example, my friend goes to University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, and they have like the Pitt Police, which is police for the students. It's very catered to the student life, whereas in Italy, you kind of just go to lectures and then you have your final exam, and there's less involvement from the school into the students' everyday lives. And even the types of assignments. In America, you have homework every single day. You have specific assignments to complete. And I'm sure this happens in some universities in Italy too. But for example, my university, I've had maybe one assignment to complete, but most of it is self-studying and then just presenting yourself for the exam.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I would say another huge difference in terms of university is in America, they don't just focus on academics. Of course, academics is the main focus, but you could join a sports team, you could join a club, there's so many ways to get involved and meet people, and there's more of a sense of community. Whereas in Italy, it's purely academic. There are some clubs, but not to the extent that they have in the US.
Okay, Lorraine, what do you think? What is better, to community or academics, or it depends on on the person? What do you think? It sure depends on the person, but if to take it more general, personally I think maybe community is better for sure. I think maybe.
Yeah. I guess it depends. But I think having that support system and community is really nice.
Yeah. I believe that as for community, if to take academics, it's essential for sure. But as for community, you can really meet a person with whom you just achieve everything. Or the group of people with whom you will just achieve goals. As for it can be sports, the field of sport, etc. So
I would say that American university is more social.
Yeah.
Whereas in Italy, it's more academic.
Yeah. So it's also great topic as for community and academics, as for to learn everything, to meet more people, because it's really depends. I believe in the balance when you meet people and you learn. It's the key, because if you meet the right circle for yourself and you can bring the value, so you can really just do together everything. So just in overall life, not in university life, but just in the real life, how it goes. So Gloria, also what do you think, where are people more free, in America or in Italy?
Free?
Yeah.
In what sense?
In what? In the sense of outfit, in the sense of thoughts, maybe just don't care about what people think.
America, 100%.
Yeah, maybe.
100%.
And what about Italy? Maybe are they're close to American people? Maybe in this way, no?
Are they what?
Maybe are they close to?
Oh, you mean anti-American?
In comparison with American, yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Even in terms of style, in America, you can... No one cares about you in America, basically. You can walk out in the street in your pajamas. Everyone always makes fun of Americans for wearing their pajamas out. And the truth is, no one cares. Whereas in Italy, it would... God forbid someone goes out in their pajamas. Also, I think it has to do a lot with the fact that Italy is a Catholic country.
Yeah.
So even on a subconscious level, people think differently, act differently, whereas in America, there's no one culture, there's no one religion that represents the whole country. But I'd say in America, people are definitely more quote-unquote free.
It's really kind of like a point that influences on people's mind, we can say, as for religion. So like you said, Gloria, in America, people have different views, different angles as for religion. But as for Italy, like people are Catholic people. Yeah, so yeah, it really matters.
And I mean, I guess not everyone in Italy is Catholic, but the majority of the country, it is a Catholic, predominantly Catholic country. There's the Pope, there's Vatican City. Whereas in the U.S. you have so many different religions and cultures. That's why it's called the melting pot.
Yeah. Okay, Gloria. Also, we know that America has a lot of people who want to become rich, successful. Yeah, like it's kind of. Is it a stereotype or is it true? Like let's take young generation.
I think, in general, the young generation is pretty driven, even in Italy, in Europe. So, but even if the younger generations in America and both Europe are more driven, I wouldn't necessarily say that in America you have more opportunity. Because I think the American dream used to be more prevalent, and now it's kind of in a way dying. And
why do you think so?
Well, America used to always, it still is. America used to be called the land of opportunity, and there still are great opportunities in America, but I think people are realizing that it's not just America that you have to go to have these work opportunities and experiences. Now, even in Europe, you know, there's London, even a bunch of cities in Germany are great to climb the corporate ladder if that's what you're looking for. So, what was the original question?
It's a really great one, yeah. So, like, the original question is that, like do a lot of Americans for our dream catchers and they want to become successful as for young generation? Because as far as I like remember and I can see, a lot of young Americans, they just try to do their best and like on YouTube, on like in fitness industry, like a lot of spheres. So just to be successful, to be rich, and like to get the goal.
I think people in America are very work driven, especially in this day and age where the definition of being successful in work is not what it used to be before. I think it was more corporate, making six figures or whatever it was, and now you could become successful in your work in a bunch of different ways because now there's social media, influencers, like you were saying.
Okay. As for if we're talking about business, Gloria, so as for what, just a moment, oh my god. Oh yeah, so if we're talking about business, there is a saying in America, I'm pretty sure you know this, as for get rich or die. So like, yeah, as for this one, like what do you think about this saying, and is it true for like all like Americans for like focusing on money?
Get rich or die.
Yeah. Like it's
I
from.
actually haven't heard that as much as you would think. But I don't think all Americans are super money driven. I think compared to Europe, they're more money driven, but not everyone. But what do you mean by get rich and die? Just your goal in life is to make money and then die?
Oh, it's like. No, it's like. It's like.
Oh, or die.
Yeah. Yeah. Get rich and die, guys. It's, the point of life is like get rich and die. It's a joke.
I would say they definitely are more money driven, but not everyone is like that. Mm-hmm. Especially once you have a family, I think your priorities change, which I think that's across the board. That's pretty generic. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. People are definitely money hungry, but I don't know if it's that extreme.
Yep.
It also obviously depends where. If you're in New York City, people will probably be more money hungry than a small town in the South.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because people typically go to the cities for work. But I don't think it's as extreme as the saying makes it sound.
Okay. Maybe it's like for the saying for people who just, I don't know, like money driven more. Yeah, like from the kind of like from the film maybe Wall Street or something like that. Like, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, some people really are like that. Some people are crazy. Don't get me wrong, and they'll work 80-hour weeks, and it's normal. But not everyone. And
as well, the reason of that question is maybe, do you know a film American Psycho?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's actually pretty interesting because like it's kind of like not a weird movie, I would say, but it's really a movie like about a killer who wanted to become rich, and he just got rid away of every opponent, like he just killed them. So like it's kind of like, and the caption of that, the name of the film, American Psycho. So like they like just like highlight like that a person in America who really want to just become rich and like Wall Street stuff. This all the money driven person. He will just do everything to become rich. So it's really kind of like controversial movie. So maybe it's like.
I hope they wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, me too. But it's like it's that's true. But like it's interesting that it's American Psycho. Like it's not like kind of it's not Italian Psycho or like I don't know like Prague Psycho. It's not European Psycho. So. Well,
I think in general, work and career in America is a lot more integrated into the culture. So I guess it would make sense that film would take place in America and in not another place, but I've never met someone that extreme.
Like I hope we will never meet like such people, but it's like just like the example. So all right. One more question that we have is, can you give us 5 tips as for travelers to the US and who wanna just to live in the US? So like as for to travel and to live, like 5 tips as for like
so 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's like a cross country trip in America, like no place specific.
Yeah, like let's say, for example, like someone from Europe wanna like travel to America. Okay. Yeah, like just maybe for 1 month, and someone from Europe who wanna like just live in America. Okay. So like we believe that like tips will be different for each of like person. Yeah.
I would say for traveling, I think you have to know English because Americans really don't know as many languages as Europeans.
That's for sure. So like book a lesson, guys, and like for sure. And yes, education.
Exactly. They know English, sometimes Spanish, but the majority of people just speak one language. Mm-hmm. So if you're coming from, I don't know, a country that's not, or Germany or France or Italy, Spain, people aren't gonna. Maybe they'll speak some Italian, some French, but not really. You need to know English.
Yeah. That's true.
Also, I think if you're doing a 1-month trip in all of America, all of the U.S., you need a car. The public transportation is not as well connected as in Europe. There's a lot of suburbs too, and the cities are more scattered. So almost every American has a car unless they're living in a big city. Mm-hmm. So even if you're traveling for a month, it will make your travels easier. Good. I would also say
maybe like not 5 of them, maybe like the main ones. It shouldn't be necessarily like 5, just the main, from your side.
Still for traveling in the U.S.
Yeah, sure, but maybe like not 5, but as many as you want to say. I mean, like the important ones.
How about like in terms of places to go? Do you mean that as well?
Will it like matter a lot? Yeah, as for places, yeah, it's like.
I mean, if you have a month, even it's hard to see everything even in a month.
Let's say maybe 3 months, maybe.
Oh.
Will it be?
Well, yeah, I guess you could see a lot in 3 months. I don't know if I have any other tips. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe like it was the main ones, or maybe.
I would say the main ones is you need to be able to speak English.
Yeah, like so. As for transport, yeah, the second one.
Well, speaking English and renting a car.
Yeah, renting. Yeah.
I was gonna say be safe, because in general America is more dangerous than Europe.
It's a good advice, guys. Yeah.
Be safe.
If you're traveling to America, just be safe. Yeah.
Be safe.
Okay, and maybe and as for people who want to just like live in America, like from Europe to America, what 5 tips can you say?
Well, also know English. You need a car. I think you have to accept the hustle culture. Mm-hmm. If you're moving there for work, especially, I think that's like a common theme. People are more focused on work. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, find your support group and friends.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, I mean that goes for anywhere. You need your group of people. But Americans are pretty friendly, like I said, so shouldn't be that hard. And they're obsessed with foreigners.
Oh, it's great.
And I feel like coming from Europe and moving to the U.S., there's so many cultures and so many different religions that you won't necessarily feel out of place, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Because people come from all over. There's so many immigrants. So it's not unusual to meet someone who's from the other side of the world. It's nice because you don't feel as much, you don't really feel like an outsider as maybe an American in Europe would.
Okay. And as for Gloria, as for maybe like health insurance, as for like such stuff, because we know that health system in America it's really expensive. So like as for people who are like moving from Europe to America, they need to know about like what aspects like taxes. That's for sure. Yeah, health system, and as for maybe like educational system as well, because like as for America, it's more free as far as I know. You can like choose a subject at university that you want to study, so it's like more opportunity that you have and more choices that you have, if I'm not mistaken, like in comparison with the European one.
In terms of
maybe schedule or making like or curriculums, I believe, or no like creating a schedule. I believe in America
like
it's more.
You have more flexibility.
Yeah. I believe in America it's more maybe
on
better.
On an academic level, or
like let's say like any levels, like, and as for schools and as for universities.
I wouldn't say there's more. I would say that in America, the school system helps you more if you want to do something abnormal. So I guess maybe flexible isn't the right word. Maybe I would say that they're more catering. Like if you want to have a double major or there's a problem with your credits for whatever reason in university, I would say it's easier to get it done in America than in Italy, at least.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, like I mean, like as for like for a person who like just moving from Europe to America, it's like also important to know as for like systems and as for like just to like the inner things that are in America. I mean, like that are different from European ones.
Like what they need.
Oh.
Yeah, in the U.S., you can make your own university schedule. You can choose which classes that you want to take each year.
Yeah.
Some you have to take, they're obligatory, but you have more flexibility in the sense that I could decide that I want to take chemistry my second year and not my third year, or I could take it my third year and not my second year. Whereas at least where I study in Italy, it's not like that. We have our schedule given to us every year, even biannually every semester, and that's our schedule, and that's it. These are the subjects that we're going to study in the course of our undergrad, and that's it. No flexibility.
Yeah, so it's like the main reason between like Europeans schedules and as for American. So like American schedules, they have more freedom. Like I mean, like students have more freedom as for choosing a schedule. So
yeah, or even if someone is, for example, a science major and they're studying biology, but they have an interest in music or theater, they could use some of their credits to still study a music class, even if their major is science, whereas all of the subjects that I study are directly related to my major.
Okay. So if you guys wanted like just to come to America, you just need to remember as for taxes, you just need to remember as for educational systems and health systems as well. So it's really important because it's really the huge difference between European ones and American ones. So it's really
even in terms of which state you want to live in.
Yeah.
Each state is different. There are certain laws that are in one state and not another. So you just have to inform yourself.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay. If we're gonna talk about places, Gloria, so what is the most exciting place for you in Italy that you have visited and in America?
Exciting or beautiful?
Let's say exciting and beautiful, maybe, like together. Yeah. They're just like the most memorable.
In America, Alaska.
Okay.
Alaska is probably the best place I've been to in America.
Why name like Alaska?
Because it doesn't feel like America.
Wow, okay.
It's a completely different world. It's a culture shock within America. And it's unlike any other state that I've been to. The glaciers, how people live. It's a completely different culture, even if it's still the U.S. So I think it's really interesting. And I think oftentimes other states, even New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all kind of blend into each other, and there's not huge differences amongst them. But Alaska is a different world. But you need to go with a cruise, mostly, because there's not a lot of roads. So you need to access most of the places by sea or by air, not by road. But it's a culture shock within America.
And like you said, Gloria, I remember that in the U.S. you have rainforests, you have mountains, you have deserts, so like you have everything that you need in one country.
You have everything. You have huge cities like LA, New York. You have the Midwest where there's just plains and deserts. Then you have the canyons, Zion and Bryce Canyon in Utah. You have the Grand Canyon. You have national parks like Yosemite in California. Then you also have the beach in Hawaii. You have glaciers in Alaska. So anything you want, any type of landscape you want, you could find.
It's amazing. It's really outstanding. Oh, and as for Italy, what can you say as for the best place?
I think I'm partial because I live in central Italy, in Perugia, in a region called Umbria, which is all mountains, very green. And I don't know, I really love that region. Maybe not to live, but definitely to visit. I'd say Rome is too chaotic, I think, to live. And Milan it's a nice city, but it doesn't really feel like Italy. I would say if I had to choose one place in Italy, maybe...
It's a hard one.
Someplace in central Italy. Someplace in central Italy. That would be my answer.
Okay. So like the center Italy is really like, we can say like the real Italy. Yeah, in comparison with like you said, Milan, it doesn't feel like the real like kind of like culture of Italy, yeah, or like the atmosphere of Italy that it has.
Milan is more of just a commercial city, in my opinion. And Rome is beautiful, has a lot of history, a lot of art, but it's just very chaotic and touristy to actually live there. Same thing with Florence. There's less chaos, but it's almost all tourists, all foreigners. But I feel like, or Umbria or Tuscany, those towns that are not huge cities is more classic. It's a classic lifestyle, which I think is the best.
Okay, it's great. Okay, and the last but not the least question for Gloria. So, what American stereotypes do you like find funny and unexpected, and in comparison with the European ones, and are they true? What do you think?
What's a stereotype that you would say people in Europe have about Americans, and I'll tell you if it's true or not.
What we have, like which stereotype do we have as for Americans?
I won't be offended.
Okay, so.
Because I have a few in my mind, but I'm curious to hear.
Okay. Gloria, also as for New York, we know the stereotype, yeah, it's pretty like glamorized, and like a lot of people like just stylish people, like, and just all of that. What do you think about that? Is it true?
Partially, yes. I mean, a lot of people go to New York for work, for opportunity. I grew up right outside of New York City, so I've been there multiple times. But like any other city, it has different parts that are more stylish and chic than other parts. For example, if you go to downtown Soho, it's more young and hipster. And then even there's a difference between the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gossip Girl, the show.
Yeah, sure.
That's like a general idea of the Upper East Side. So a lot of parts of it are true, what you see online about it being a beautiful city. But I've also heard of many people who go to New York City and they're disappointed because it's dirty, there's rats the size of a shoe, and there's homeless people, there's a drug problem. So in some senses it's great, it's beautiful. There's Billionaires Row, which has amazing skyscrapers, amazing views, a lot of observatory decks, amazing restaurants, but there's still the parts that aren't so nice.
Okay, so it really depends on the parts, but it's really also like subjective for every person, like as for New York and how it looks, and like
Right. I've met people from Europe who go to New York City and they say it was the best trip of their life. They want to move there, and other people who were so disappointed.
Yeah. So it really depends. Yeah.
Personally, I love New York City. I don't know if I would ever live there, but I'm also partial because I grew up right there.
Okay. Interesting. And if you want to experience maybe like rainforests, deserts, like kind of like you said, Alaska as well, Gloria, yeah. Like you have in one country all of that you need, so it's America, but Europe, its culture, its food, it's more like just about the community and the people is like namely, in comparison with America. So it's really depends on you what to choose and what path to take.
I think both Europe and the US are worth visiting and exploring. Both have so much to offer. So it's up to the person what they want.
Yeah. So don't be afraid of traveling. Travel, find yourself, find your place, and So thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap up. Take care.